One of the most fun things about a TTRPG are the goodies that you can get while playing. This means certain items, like magical items, maybe cool weapons, or maybe a sick piece of armor. And that's all very important, not just to, games like D&D or Pathfinder, but I've decided to make it important also to my TTRPG that I'm making right now, called Triconomist. And that's what this channel is about, and today we're talking about items and armor and how they apply to this game. Let's talk about storage real quick. I used to have a very complex storage idea, including a bunch of cards that you would have to cut out, and they all have a different weight system and all that. And I found that when it comes to TTRPGs, sometimes less is more, in a way. And frankly, I don't want to have to keep track of a ton of different cards whenever I'm trying to play something. So I made it simple, and frankly, I like this a lot. On the very middle, the very bottom of the character sheet, can't miss it, you have the item storage section. And this may look a little weird at first, but it makes a lot of sense when you explain it real quick. You got 5 columns of things right below in the middle. They have one slot, which is for the title of the thing you're holding, and then a longer slot for any kind of description you want to put for it. Anytime you find an item, you want to keep it, you want to put it in your inventory, you're going to go ahead and put it in one of those slots. Now, it's important to note that not everything needs to take up a whole slot. Let's say you find, a piece of rope, or like coins, or something like that. Stuff that can even fit in your pocket. That shouldn't take up a whole slot. Right above that, you got a small items section, which is for like very small things like coins, maybe like a lockpick set, stuff like that. Stuff that you really, don't need to fill up a whole slot with. And you got currency on the other side, which is quite literally just your pockets and where you can keep track of all your coins. There is a currency system in this game, but even if you're using these mechanics for a different game, you can put your, whatever gold, silver coins you want in there, dollars, euros, whatever. You can put that in your currency section. When creating your character, you'll start off by picking 2 simple items. These aren't small items. These are just items that fit in your slot, and they can be like a weapon or like a different kind of item, which are like long sword, short sword, dagger, spear, battle axe, club, bow staff, hammer, bow and arrow, and whip. Those are kind of like the generic, you can expect to find those weapons in a TTRPG. And it's structured just like they are on the character sheet. You got the name and you got the description right next to it. You also got simple items like a shield or a torch, a book, which are actually kind of cool, and a poison vial. That would kind of count as one as well. Anything that requires some kind of mechanics is cool enough to fit in a slot, I think. Because you don't want to fill up your pockets with a bunch of poison vials. That's just too OP. Too OP. You got small items. Some of the examples on the character sheet are flint and steel, a map, a flute, maybe pencils, a lockpick, bandages, a compass, cooking spice rope, and maybe a cloak. You also got rare items, which are pretty cool, and I don't want to show you now, and I don't think the player should be able to see them while they're making the characters, because there's a lot to explore in this world and any world that you play this system in. So they should be enticed to go look around for things that they can find in this world. And there's a lot, and I have a lot of ideas of how a GM should present those items, maybe for a future video. Next up, you got armor. Armor will be tracked in the armor section that's literally right next to the items. And you can have 3 different types of armor for your head, for your torso, and for your legs. When you find armor, let's say your character finds a really cool helmet. You might ask the GM, can I put it on? And you'll be like, yeah, of course. This will be, let's say, like a steel helmet, and it's level 2. So that means it has 2 points of health before it gets damaged and is unusable. You might notice that underneath the title part of each piece of armor are a couple slots, and some of them are dotted, which means you can fill them out. This is a level 2 helmet, so you'll go ahead and fill out the second slot, which means you have 2 slots of which you can use the armor. What does armor mean? Well, at any point during combat, an attacker is attacking you and rolls really good. You'll go ahead and check off one of those armor, and they have to re-roll their attack roll, which is huge. It's a big deal whenever they do that, because you'll come to learn that attack rolls mean a lot and every die counts. They like do some insurmountable amount of damage and do really good on their rolls. All hope is not lost. Just check off one of those armor slots and they can try again. But how does combat work? Why does armor matter? We'll find out in the next video when I talk about combat and how it works.